Okay. Well, we had, I would say, quite an extensive session from Q&A, very interesting, all related to the next extension of the market, which means that there is great interest. I think that we move to the next and final session for the event, which is the session for the concluding remarks, where we will have a discussion, some reaction from the four co-chairs of the single day and the single intraday coupling. You know that such projects are organized with one NEMO chair and one TSO co-chair, so we have two co-chairs for each project. Plus also here the view of the NRAs. We have three representatives at the beginning from the CACM task force co-chairs to have a general overview of what is being done and what is expected as a relevant point for the near future. So open such a final part of the floor, starting, I would say, from SDAC. We have Rafael Gomez Elvira and Ole Jacob Hoyland here to speak. But I think we can start from the end because they paved the way for all the couplings, which all of them, the intraday, in the future, the IDES. It was a seminal project in Europe and with unprecedented dimension worldwide, dealing with a lot of technical and also governance complexities, progressive extension with progressively more demanding requirements, and still many things to be done for the next years, as we saw before, the 15 minutes, the extension of flow-based, and so on. So I think we can definitely talk about success story. I would be curious to hear your view on which are the reasons for such a success, and which are the points of attention for now and on. So please, the floor is yours. Speak your mind. Maybe we can start from Rafael just to have an open discussion.
Thank you, Cosimo. Thank you, Cosimo. First of all, by the way, congratulations as NEMO Committee's chair for this annual report. We are really proud of this report by the NEMO community in cooperation with TSO. So congratulations for leading the work. And indeed, good afternoon to everyone. I would like to start with a general remark, and I would like to share with you all my personal reflection, after many years working on energy regulation. And when we look back, 10, 15, perhaps 15 years ago, and we remember how far market integration was. I mean, we realize, we are not just talking about, a 100-page report today. We are talking about a successful story of good cooperation between, TSOs and NEMOs, and I want to celebrate this with you all today. Because it's amazing how far we were at that time, 10, 15 years ago, and the environment and framework of cooperation we have today, among NEMOs, as also between NEMOs and TSOs. And having said that, 2019 was very important for SDAC, and I want to pick a couple of points. The formal establishment of the EU-wide cooperations through the single day ahead operation agreement. And indeed, the so-called ANDOA for NEMOs as well was pivotal to start cooperating, within, the really European scope, geographical scope. We are, as NEMOs all together, ensuring equal treatment and cooperating together. And if I pick up a number, I want to choose this welfare, the so-called social welfare, which is one of the most relevant deliveries of the single day ahead coupling today. and I can read in the report that the social welfare managed by the SDAC reached an average of 8.8 billion euro per session. It is really unbelievable. I mean, 10 years ago, it was a pure dream, and we are delivering this per session. It's amazing, really. So, I mean, to finalize my point, I mean, in the last year, I mean, the single day ahead coupling was able to successfully implement, big requests for changes. I mean, we put in operation, I mean, the Euphemia version 10.3, and even more, we managed to implement, M&A in Central West and extensions to many other cables. And that's all for this first input. I don't know whether you want to address other points, but this is my first reaction.
Thank you, Rafael, for providing the general scope of the relevance of what we've been doing and what we're still doing. Ole, it's up to you. What's the TSO view on this?
Thank you, Cosimo. Good afternoon from me also to everybody. As Rafael stated, the day-ahead market coupling has been and really is a success story. I will try not to repeat Rafael too much. We are normally very aligned on most matters. I have been close to the market coupling since the beginning with the Northwest European coupling, then the coupling with the Iberian market, then Italy. The multi-regional coupling started with the 4MMC in parallel. Now it's merged together to the single day-ahead coupling with a common joint steering committee. The operation is quite complex as more and more parties join and the geographical area expands. As we have heard here today, it's quite impressive. The operational facts are 27 countries, 61 bidding zones, 35 TSOs, 16 NEMOs, and traded volumes of 1,500 terawatt hours a year. And as Rafael says, a substantial socioeconomic welfare is delivered. The TSOs have invested very large sums in the grid infrastructure on behalf of all Europeans, and maximizing the usage of this infrastructure is extremely important, and that is what we do in the market coupling. I have read the report presented here today, and I think it's a very good document describing the market coupling. So congratulations on a very good report. It gives a picture that both day ahead and intraday, both timeframes, are quite big and comprehensive operations, where TSOs and NEMOs have developed a strong and robust cooperation together. I have experienced that this cooperation has matured over the years and has never been as strong as it is today. And I think that's a very good basis for the future. We have also heard here today about the future. The future will be demanding. More parties will join. The change pace is increasing, and many projects, both extension and technical product developments, are planned. M&A to be implemented everywhere, flow-based, 15 minutes is very challenging, and so on. Keeping the daily ongoing operation safe in the same time as we develop is challenging. Good planning and testing is crucial, and also R&D to make the algorithm and the operation manage all these future demands is extremely important. The risk of decoupling, I think, is increasing with complexity, but I believe consequences of a decoupling can be reduced even more. Every time we have incidents, we try to learn from them. And the analogy is the airline business. When a plane falls down from the skies, there is an investigation so everybody can learn from it. And exactly the same in this coupling. When we have a decoupling, for instance, we try to learn from it, making the operation even more robust after the decoupling. I'm about to finish now. I would like to finish with what very many have mentioned, the cooperation, which I feel is very much based on trust. We succeed together and we fail together. But to sum it up, I think we are strong and successful together. I think that's the main message from me. And I really hope everybody around us, the market participants and the authorities and ourselves, can see this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ole, for your inspiring view. The ad goes back since many years. Intraday is the newborn baby, but it is growing really fast. It is growing in extension, in dimension of the volumes treated, in the complexity. So it is fascinating to see how fast is the pace of such a change. There is obviously one question here for Stefano and Jean, the two co-chairs of SIDC, how you manage change and complexities, and what's the role you see for this market, which is fastly growing and attracting a lot of expectations next year to come, especially in the view of the clean energy package and all the drastic revolution that the power sector is entering, has already entered. Stefano.
Thank you, Cosimo. First of all, congratulations to you, to all the people that work at this webinar. Very successful, very well organized. Yeah, I would like to address, let's say, a challenge that I see in the future, because we during this webinar we spoke about the future development of the single intraday coupling. We talk about the intraday options that will be implemented at the European level, cross-product matching. We will have to improve transparency and so on. But thinking about the clean energy package and the, let's say, the modification of the electricity sector, I see, of course, a challenge with regard to the penetration of non-programmable renewable sources that is improving, and it is leading to a growing need of flexibility services very close to real time. So in this respect, the intraday coupling has given an answer extending the trading up to 1 hour before real time. And we saw from the questions that there is also a request for extending furthermore this trading up to 30 minutes before real time. If we see all the modification, the electricity demand in terms of electrical, house heating and cooling, distributed generations, transport, electrifications, are all factors that are a strong impact on the electricity demand and its forecasting. And this, let's say, uncertainty brought by the non-programmable renewable sources will move this uncertainty especially to the distributor system operators. There are many initiatives at local level that are leading to flexibility sources platforms where distributors can find these resources in order to proper balance the distribution network. But of course, the behavior, these needs of DSOs will interact in the futures more and more with the intraday market. They will have, of course, coordinate with TSOs, and this new, let's say, flows of informations and needs will, in my view, will can have an impact in the future on the intraday market. So the challenge is to monitor very closely this pattern, this new modification of the electricity sector, to see if the intraday can accommodate the future need of the operators in this respect. So this is, I would say, a very interesting challenge that I see in the future, and of course all our efforts would be to closely monitor and to adapt in case the design of the market in order to accommodate these needs. So thank you very much, and I'll leave the floor to Gian.
Thank you, Stefano. Good morning. Thank you, Stefano. And so I would like first to thank all people who have prepared this report and this webinar, I think, which provide a very good overview of so the development in both the market and also the different projects are and manage so the new expectations from the stakeholders. As TSO chair, maybe I would like to first to complement the figure you have seen regarding so the volume on the intraday platform by so an evaluation of the share of the cross-border trade in the compared to the total volumes, and from the information we gather on TSO side, we can estimate that so cross-border trading represents about 20% of the global volumes traded in the intraday platform, and it is so very important to have this figure in mind, because so I would say one of the main reasons to develop XBID is to enable this cross-border trade across Europe, and to, as Ole mentioned, to give value to all investments which have been made by the TSOs to develop the interconnectors. So, as you have seen, we continue to see a growth in the use of the platform, and so this is testimony of the success of this platform and of the project. So we reach now about 94,000 trades per day as an average, and 1.3 million orders per day traded in the platform. So this continuous increase in the use of the platform is also for us a very good signal that we are moving in the good direction. As you have seen, so we have a significant development in front of us. So we have already mentioned the geographical extensions. I would like also to note today that so there is a project being set up now to manage so the Slovakian border. So we can see now that so the fourth wave go live is under preparation also. And so regarding so the functional developments, so we have already mentioned so the transit shipping, losses, 15-minute products, flow-based. We have to take in mind that nevertheless, despite this huge development we have in front of us, so the priority remains to ensure the stability of the system and the stability of operation. And we have to have in mind that our system is a real-time system, and this is why every new release has to be very carefully tested, and it takes so about 4 months to test a new release. I would say a new major release. So adding the time for development, that means we can deliver maximum 2 releases per year, and so this is in the, I would say, in the best case. We need also to ensure that so the performance are not degraded And so this is what we manage when we develop. So we went to the second wave go live. You have seen that. Thanks to the development on the hardware side, we succeeded also to increase the performance despite this geographical extension. And so we have to optimize our resources when setting the priorities, and depending also on the maturity of the design and of the functional specifications of the future developments. So we define priorities, but these priorities are regularly updated, taking into account the changing legislative environment and I would say legislative requirements, but also taking into account the maturity of the R&D activities and the results of the R&D activities. So this is our continuous work in order to deliver as soon as possible what is expected from you, the market parties. We have also mentioned that we have started to work on intraday auctions, and for that, so we will engage a strong cooperation with the DED. As you know, we aim to use the same algorithm as in DED, and we have to coordinate our activities in order to optimize the performance of the algorithm, and especially as we have in the intraday auctions to introduce the cross-product matching between 15-minute, 30-minute, and hourly products. So these are this is our roadmap. We have so as my colleague co-chairs mentioned, we have a very good cooperation between NEMO and TSOs, which I would say supported the success of the project, and so we are, I think, in good track to continue with such success, and so this is what I hope for the next months and years. For me, and I will on the floor to Cosimo, if you want. Or yeah, I think that NRA have now some interventions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jean. I think that definitely what we are seeing here, starting from the tiny details in the technical chapters to this more extended overview of the general picture, which is made by the other intraday markets, that we are seeing a relevant piece of European integration. In less than 1 year, we will have one European market for the ad, one European market for intraday, something which in a simple institutional context, the US do not have after 30 years. This is really unprecedented. This is following also on the institutional level, a deep coordination, not only between NEMOs and TSOs in the development and operation, but also obviously with the Commission, ACER, and the RAISE, and here we come to our last speakers, in the preparation of all the legal, regulatory, and governance background, which is continuously evolving. What you see here, the CACM report, is one compliance introduced by the algorithm methodology, written together somewhat between NRAs, ACER, and NEMOs and TSOs, with the aim to provide what we try to show you today, was behind the scenes, as said at the beginning by Thomas. So all these nitty-gritty details, which makes a stable and reliable operation, and which can be fundamental, if properly presented, to also support market participants in their prospective decision-making. So while welcoming Salvatore, Martin, and Nico to take their role and have their speech, I would like to raise this question. We think that one fundamental piece in this report, apart from the flood of information, because there are really many, is the attempt to provide a perspective view of what are the next steps and of the expected impacts of this policy decision, for example, the 15 minutes. So to allow all the system, market participant, NEMOs and TSOs, institution, to have a shared and agreed vision of what's going on, which are the criticalities and which are the solution in a very transparent way. We are at the beginning of this exercise. What's the view on this? Or whichever other comment you want to raise, obviously.
Thank you, Cosimo, and thank you all for organizing this webinar and inviting we as NRA's representative. Yeah, as it has been mentioned several times today, we all know that a single dead coupling and single intraday coupling project, for their very characteristics and geographical scope, are indeed unique experiments all over the world. And you know that EU NRAs are deeply involved in the realization of such projects in many different ways, spanning from approving methodologies to monitoring their implementation. So ensuring access to relevant information to all stakeholders is among NRA's main tasks. This is why NRAs pay special attention to communication activities related to both projects. We mean communication activities like this one. The CACM Annual Report is an obligation stemming from the current regulation. The main purpose of the report is to provide transparency on the real working of the European integrated markets. And NRAs intend to analyze carefully the content of the report and to provide their comments with a view to improve its clarity and completeness for the benefit of all stakeholders. But for the time being, we can only welcome the timely publication of the report and appreciate the joint effort made by NEMOs and TSOs to make available a great deal of information based on which our understanding of market functioning will certainly improve. For instance, with respect to day-ahead, stakeholders have been reassured that the completion of the single market is feasible with the existing technology, while some requirements, as for instance 15 minutes MTU, are not yet achievable without further R&D activities. Moreover, for the first time, we can have an insight on the intraday market data. We know about the volume, 57 terawatt hour. We know that the liquidity is concentrated in the last hour before delivery, and we know this amount of trades concentrated in this hour, 40%. Well, in the past months, NRAs, TSOs, and NEMOs interacted on a regular basis for discussing some aspects of the report. And we really hope that this fruitful interaction will continue in the future and will bring additional benefits to all parties involved. In many cases, markets are represented as driven by an invisible hand. Thanks to an initiative like today's webinar, the hand becomes more visible. So thank you.
Thank you, Salvio. Any further comment from the NRA side? Any further comment from other panelists? If not, just let me provide you two final statements. First of all, I see that currently we still have online 76 participants. So we had not suffered the typical drastic decline in the last hour, which are often appreciated in webinars. So I hope this is a sign that we were able to keep the interest alive during all the discussion. This is by definition due to the quality of the panelists. I also invite you all, if you want, to send comments about this event. So what have you appreciated, what you think could be missing and useful to have included in next year report or event to always improve the quality of what we deliver. This was the first exercise as a webinar. For sure, there is a lot to be improved from our side. You can use for that the NEMO Committee website with the contact list and provide us your comments. In a few days, you will also see uploaded the registration of the webinar. So if you lost something, you have the chance to review. For the time being, thank you all you who attended this webinar. You have been kept silent. Thank to all the speakers, and thanks especially to Ludovic Marcenac from ENTSOe, Lucie Rizava, the NEMO Committee PMO, Kata Ferrer, and Rodrigo Escobar, our reporting and communication past and present task force leaders, for acting behind the scene to ensure that everything was working smoothly. Thank you so much. Have a nice day, and let's see you next year report. Bye.